All right. So basically, I can't see that. Wow. All right. We're going for this. So now that Labor Day weekend is over, technically summer is over, even though the weather disagrees with that. And this year, in the year of 2023, Jimmy Buffett sadly passed away during Labor Day weekend at the age of 77. So to commemorate his honor, I have me a frozen margarita in front of me, and I'm about to, just for the sake of this bit, stick to that and talk about the movies that have come out so far in the year 2023 before the margarita itself melts from the summer heat that is still here. I am not only putting my reputation on the line by dishonoring Jimmy Buffett's image, but I'm also risking my skin because I'm about to get burned so bad. So I gotta hurry up. I'd actually move that up. Does that work? Is that working? Oh shit. So, the movies that have come out this year that I'm putting on my like top 10. I'll just talk about the top 10. Here we go. 1, 2. Oh, there's a hummingbird above me. Hello. Ah, he's cute. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So, with the writer strike going on, a lot of the big movies that were supposed to come out this year, like Dune, like later on in November, aren't coming out anymore. So a lot of people are like, well, this year's kind of like, let's just skip this year. Let's not even look at it. But I disagree. There's some still some good movies that are coming out and have come out. And I'm going to sadly start with a Netflix movie. They're kind of the big bad guys of the strike right now, and Disney Plus. But they still come out with some good movies. I'm not going to call it content, movies. And I'm going to start with They Cloned Tyrone, starring Jamie Foxx, John Boyega, and Teyonah Parris. Really, really good movie. A good like conspiracy film that like takes place in the hood with like a pimp and a drug dealer and a prostitute. Like those are the three main characters against like the government. Really, really fun. Kind of weird how it's filmed with like fake film grain and stuff, like it's a 70s conspiracy theory movie, but it takes place in the real like present day, like they have iPhones and stuff at the end. Really confusing because they wanted it to be a period piece, but then they didn't make it a period piece. I don't know why they did that, but I don't know. I guess the execution, they landed most of it. So definitely a good watch. Some big surprises in there and great performances all around. I love John Boyega. I watch anything he's in. Like Woman King, which came out last year, I think, was really, really good. He's pretty good in it. He's not in it that much, but if you're a fan of John Boyega, ignoring all the Star Wars stuff that happened, watch They Clone Tyrone. He's really, really good. I can already feel the sun. I'm gonna get burned so bad. Next up, I actually saw this movie yesterday, Bottoms, with Rachel Sennett, and it's directed by, they've worked together before. I actually don't know this director, Emma Seligman, but Rachel Sennett, everything she's in, I'm gonna watch. I've yet to watch Shiva Baby, which I think is also the same director. But since Bodies, she was definitely the highlight of that movie. So I'm just gonna watch anything she's in. She actually wrote this and like co-produced it, Bottoms, and it's so funny. It's a very cartoony world that this high school exists in. It's very much like it's in between Stranger Things cartoony and Euphoria horny. Like it's like a perfect middle Venn diagram of that. So if you like really, really horny teenagers doing stupid, crazy stuff and things sometimes blow up and they make some jokes that you're like, ooh, are they allowed to make that joke? Watch Bottoms. It's really, really good. Yeah, that's very much a summer movie. And I went yesterday on a Monday, on Labor Day, and it was packed. Like, the whole theater was full. I was not expecting that. I thought I was going to be the only one. But yeah, there was like an old guy in the theater, and he sat through the whole thing. And then the like cleanup guy with like the broom, he's a nice guy at the theater I go to. He always asks if everyone liked the movie, and the old guy kind of went on like a rant. He's like, "Oh, it was awful. I hated it. It was so like insulting and all this stuff." And it's like, why'd you stay through the whole movie? why'd you stay if you didn't like any part of it? Like, I've never left a movie before, but like every movie I go to, I know who the, well, I try to like know who the audience is for. This dude was old. Like, this movie was not made for him. He was a baby boomer, and this is very much a Gen Z movie. I don't know why he sat through it, but like, respect, I guess. Just respect for him to stick it through. Above bottoms, so number 8. I'm sticking close to this one. Not a lot of people saw it, but Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I'm a huge Chris Pine fan. He just has so much charisma, and he's really funny, and he always gets his characters down in like serious and authenticity, but he like knows when it's time to be funny, and he knows when to not be in on the joke so that it's funnier for us. He just gets it, and he's really, really talented. He's not in enough stuff. He was in Star Trek and Wonder Woman, which is like, those are 2 ginormous franchises, but they never made it past like 3 movies. So, yeah. He's really good in it. He's kind of the standout. But who's that actor that's from Jurassic World that I thought was annoying? He's really good in this one, though. Oh, Justice Smith, the Detective Pikachu kid. He's actually pretty good in this. He like keeps it emotional, his like character journey. He's like kind of the funny, stupid character, but he knows when to be genuine at the right moment. So that's really good. I can't talk about all the actors because it's like an all-star cast. Oh, wait. Nope. Going to talk about one more. Michelle Rodriguez, she's probably the highlight. She does all the action choreography in her fights. Like, Chris Pine doesn't do that much action because he's like, he plays the lute. But Rodriguez, she shows up. Like, she beats up a bunch of dudes, and it's awesome. So above that, I have Talk to Me, which is an A24 film made by 2 YouTubers from Australia. They're the Raka guys. I'm so sorry, I don't know that YouTube channel. That was a surprise. I know it's A24 horror, so like I go in expecting it to be good, but this one was like surprisingly really, really good. And it's very Australian, so that's kind of fun. Like, you expect certain tropes to happen, and then they do happen, but in an Australian way. Like, they don't run over a deer, they run over a kangaroo. Like, just little stuff like that where it's like, oh, that's kind of fun that this movie's doing its own thing. It's not trying to be American. And it kind of like shines in those elements. So yeah, it's pretty good. And the performances are so good. All the performances. And I don't know any of the actors. So it's like going into a movie completely blind, go see Talk to Me. Because you're like, what is it? And it's like, I don't really want to tell you because things happen that just like are a huge surprise. And if you got spoiled those moments, then the movie wouldn't be as good. But I still think like on a rewatch, it's worth rewatching to see the performances and to see kind of like some of the edits, because some of the edits are very YouTube-like with the sound design and stuff, that I was like, I'm not a huge fan of that. But then other like reveals are really, really well done. So it's kind of cool to see these guys go from YouTube to like cinema, and I think they stick the landing. So they're definitely worth watching. Even their YouTube channel, they're very high production guys. They know what they're doing. So yeah, definitely go see Talk to Me. And then above that, I probably have this ranked above because I saw it earlier, but Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise was really, really good, like contained story in an apartment building. And if you haven't seen any of the other Evil Dead movies, like I've only seen the first one, you really don't have to. You just have to know that there's like a book made out of human skin. It's not the Necronomicon. It's something else. It might be the Necronomicon, but it's really, really good. So it's like there's like this book that if you read it, it revives the dead or like curses the dead, and it's like there's an evil spirit that like possesses someone or everybody, and it's like a disease. So like if you die from this thing, you become it as well. But it's not zombies. It's like demon possession that's contagious. And they just love messing with your head. Like, they don't want to scare you, they want to torture you. And it's really, really interesting and creative to see how they do it in this Evil Dead Rise movie, because most of the Evil Dead movies take place in like the woods. So there's like chainsaws and like, I don't know, pitchforks and shotguns. But in this one, it's like they're in an apartment. So, you know, there's like kitchen knives and there's like a tattoo gun because the mom is a tattoo artist. So it's like fun, creative, like gross stuff. Like it's a very gross movie. There's even a Shining reference with an elevator. Like it's very gory, but in a fun way. Like it's really, really fun. Okay, so now here's our top 5. And how are we checking on the margarita? It's actually not doing too bad. I'm going pretty fast. Maybe I'm going too fast. Nah, I shouldn't say that. We gotta save the margarita. Oh, there's a cardinal with a bug over there. Huh. I spent too much time inside. I'm looking at all these birds. Cool. Anyway, all right. So number 5 is another Netflix movie, but it's a Netflix animated movie. And whenever Netflix releases like an animated show, it's kind of 50-50 on whether it's good or not. Maybe even less than that. Most of their shows are kind of just spam, spam, spam for like content. But their movies, honestly, they pick up a lot of projects and it's really, really good. Like last year, The Sea Beast was one of my favorite movies of the year. Highly recommend, even though it gets a little too How to Train Your Dragon in the middle. I think The Sea Beast is definitely worth your watch. But this year it was Nimona, which was a Blue Sky movie that they were in the middle of production. I think they were almost done with it. And then when Disney bought Blue Sky, they canceled the movie and they shut down the studio because it was too expensive during COVID. So this movie kind of went into limbo, and then it gained enough like fan support that Netflix noticed and picked it up and finished it. Like they finished the animation. They had to do some animation left. They kind of tweaked the character models apparently. And all in all, it's a really, really good movie. There's some things near the climax that they kind of jump the shark on having an easy villain just to make it more watchable. But besides that, I think the story is really fun. The characters are really, really well done. And I think the emotions are very, very genuine. It's a very emotional movie about like identity and stuff. And in terms of like an animated kids family movie, it goes above and beyond what Disney would dare do. Like Disney kind of pretends to do representation stuff in certain parts of their market, especially with animated films. But with this movie, they just went full out like, we're going to do it the whole way. We're going to do all of it. So really, really appreciate that as like kind of stepping forward in cinema. We're moving forward in things we want to say and want to talk about. And the animation's just really good. And the characters are fun. And the action is really fun. And yeah, I just had a really good time watching it. This one might piss some people off. For my number 4, I have Oppenheimer. No, I do not think it's the best movie of the year. No, I didn't really have a profound experience like everyone else did watching it. It was long, and I do think the first hour, it doesn't really sink its teeth into anything. Because I'm not a huge character study guy. Like Tar from last year, a film that just follows a character and their either evolution or de-evolution, corruption. Sometimes it's fun, but I personally need more than that. I'm just not like a character study guy where one character is the focus and it's like we have to follow them through like their whole life. I don't need that. I like more. Oh, hello, bee. Anyway, I like more like, I don't know, traditional stuff. I don't want to be like that kind of guy, but I need like characters versus bad guy, not one guy where he's a genius and everyone says he's a genius, but I don't really see him being a genius only in a few scenes. Like when he does the lecture in Dutch, that's a good scene. When he's in the train with the other Jewish guy after that lecture, those 2 scenes are great. But him looking at a painting of Picasso and suddenly we're supposed to understand, oh, he's more than just a scientist. From just him looking at a painting, I think that's ridiculous. I did see it in 70mm IMAX, so that experience was amazing, and I'm about to go see Interstellar in 70mm IMAX in November, hopefully. And I mean, the IMAX experience cannot be beat, but also I feel like Christopher Nolan made a movie. I'm glad he made a non-traditional movie as like a big blockbuster director auteur, if you want to call him that. A lot of people do. It's cool that he made a non-traditional movie. I just wasn't expecting that going in. So if I rewatch it, I would like it more. But why would I rewatch a movie if I'm not going to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX? Like, I saw the best version of it the first time. I don't want to like tarnish that experience by seeing it again at an AMC. So that's why it's like lower than the other movies that I'm about to talk about. Because like I do want to rewatch it, but would that actually help? I don't know. I was going into it with the wrong state of mind, is what I'm just going to say. All right, number three. Number three is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I know it's, if you've seen it, I know it's a part one. It's not like a full story, but I'm a huge animation guy, and Across the Spider-Verse was just beautiful. I know there's like a lot of like labor conversations about it, especially right now, in that it had 1,000+ animators on it, and their production schedule was so crazy that animators, like over 100 animators, quit because they didn't have weekends, and they were expected to do overtime with like limited pay, or I don't know what the full story is, but it wasn't a good look when those articles started coming out right around the strike, when everyone was gushing about this movie. It's a tough look. And they promised to bring out part two in like May next year. That was just a lie. They haven't even started part two. Like, all the animators came out saying, we have not done any part two. We're not in the space to do a part two in that amount of time. So I don't know why they promised that, knowing it wouldn't come true. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see part two. I'm excited to see it. I think Across the Spider-Verse, it's not better than Into the Spider-Verse because it's not a succinct, like, one contained story, but I think the emotions run higher. Some of the action I think is better, and I think the animation just evolves. It takes that extra step because they had what they established in Into the Spider-Verse. So it's a really, really good evolution, and it's a much more emotional, impactful story. So I am fully on board for part two. I think this is going to be one of the best trilogies we've ever seen, especially this century. I mean, I know Lord of the Rings, but like, besides Lord of the Rings and like, I don't know, Dark Knight or something, in this century, I think Spider-Verse is like gonna be up there. And yeah, number two is the artsy New York-ish South Korean movie of the year, Past Lives. Past Lives is really, really good. It's just the cinematography and how it like conveys the lapse of time is really, really good and emotional, and you kind of feel it, how like time passes and like people change even though they don't want to, and relationships change even though they don't want to. But yet that's the beginning of those relationships are still inside your head somewhere, and both of you are trying to find it even though it's already gone. I think it's a really, really good movie, and yeah, it's just so well shot. Like, both in South Korea and New York, some of the locations they choose, it's all on location. They must have had like smaller cameras. It was definitely a smaller production. I think it is A24, or is it Focus Features? I can't tell, but it was definitely a smaller production, so they could fit in areas of New York that bigger crews couldn't. So some of the places they choose to do like just kind of like dialogue scenes, it's really, really good. So I recommend seeing Past Lives. It's definitely going to be talked about during awards season. There are a lot of movies that are coming out though that you think, oh, Barbie and Oppenheimer are going to sweep the awards. Just wait, because there are some movies coming out later this year that I'm excited for that I think are going to do really well. David Fincher's, I think, Killers or Hunter, or I don't know, with Michael Fassbender, that one's going to be really good. I think that's going to win some awards as well. Also on Netflix. And Napoleon. I don't know what Napoleon's going to be like, but it's going to be Ridley Scott, big production, big cinematography, big battles, just clashing against each other. So, you know, it's a period piece and a character study. Yay! So the awards season, they're gonna love it. Now, last but not least, check the margarita. We're doing great. Last but not least, Barbie. Barbie is still my #1 movie of the year. I saw it with my mom at a packed theater. She loved it. I loved it. We had a great time. It's just a fun movie to watch. If you just want to go see something fun, go watch Barbie. The pacing is crazy fast. It's colorful. There's so many characters. It's visually stunning. The costumes are great. The sets are great. The jokes are hilarious. The fascism line especially, I always think about. Like, it's really, really funny. And it's really, really smart too. Because I was expecting it to be like Enchanted or like Blast from the Past or something, where you start in the character's world and then you enter the real world and, oh, the real world is not what I thought. I thought that's what it was going to be the whole movie. So the fact that they go there for a little bit and they're like, wow, this kind of sucks. Let's go back. And then they go back to Barbie world and then that's when like the real conflict starts. That is like an evolution of that story arc that I was not expecting. And I was like, thank God we're going to stay in Barbie world for most of this movie. Because it's just so colorful and fun. And to like approach the conflict and the theme that this movie wants to tackle and successfully does in that world is way more interesting than doing it in the real world. Because I also like that the real world in this Barbie movie is still also cartoonish. Like the Mattel building is kind of like the barrier between the real world and Barbie world. Like it's very, very cartoony, but it's still in our like societal problems. The Mattel CEO is kind of like, is he a bad guy? Is he not? Well, he's not because Mattel's paying for this movie. But it's like he also is just admittedly greedy, but not enough. That's the one character where I'm like, they couldn't develop him the way they wanted to because capitalism and producers. But other than that, like, the Mattel building is pretty cartoony, and the way Ken like discovers patriarchy in the most like Reaganomics USA way possible is so funny. He thinks it's about horses because there's giant flat screens in LA that just show eagles and American flags and horses. Hilarious. And like Venice Beach is like the cleanest and most beautiful it's ever been, but there are still construction guys there that like catcall women. Like it's clean and pretty compared to our real world, but it still has the problems. I think that's really fun. But I'm still so glad that they went back to Barbie world so that it could be just outrageous in every way possible. It was just a really fun watch. I can't wait to watch it again, but I'm going to give it time to like settle in like the cultural conversation because a lot of people are still like pissed off about it because it calls them out or something. But I don't know. I think that's just stupid. The Zack Snyder Justice League cut like line drop, hilarious. That was so funny. I think I was the only dude that laughed at that line in the theater, but I thought that was pretty fun. And the one of the Kens being like insulted that the Barbie hadn't seen The Godfather yet, that called me out, and I thought it was hilarious. I wasn't insulted by it. I thought that was so funny because, like, yeah, I'm always surprised when people haven't seen Godfather. I'm like, you gotta watch Godfather, and then I like talk about the whole movie for way too long. This is proof. This video right now is proof that I do that. But I'm not insulted by a movie when they call me out on it. I laugh along with them because it's like, yeah, it's right. It's true. I do that. And it's kind of like no one wants me to do it, but I do it anyway. So it's like, yeah, I can laugh along with it because it is stupid that I do that. But yeah, it's just a fun, smart movie that does have things to say. And it's just a really fun watch. So that's my favorite movie of the year so far. I'm about to have this margarita and sit in the shade. Because, yeah, I think my feet are burned. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you next time, hopefully before Oscar season. And I'll let you guys know my favorite movies of the year, and you can compare them to this list or compare them to your list and say, you're stupid for not putting in Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, or Indiana Jones, or Asteroid City, I wasn't a huge fan of Asteroid City. I like The French Dispatch more than Asteroid City. That might be my biggest hot take on this list, apparently. French Dispatch is better than Asteroid City. I'm just saying that. And I liked Indiana Jones' Dial of Destiny, but yeah, there's some faults to it. It's long. Some of the action scenes aren't great because Harrison Ford is made out of glass, so he can't really punch people. And Mission Impossible, I just don't get the Mission Impossible movies. I did my homework. I watched the first one, Ghost Protocol. I've seen Rogue Nation. I've seen Fallout. I just can't get with them. I like Rogue Nation, not the water heist. The water heist is stupid. But like the theater shootout where there's like 2 snipers, really, really good. Dead Reckoning Part 1, all the train stuff, fantastic. And the Fiat car chase through Paris or Italy? No, it's Italy, Rome. Stunning. Like the choreography in Dead Reckoning Part 1 is really, really good. But the bad guy is stupid. He's supposed to be someone from Ethan's past, but we don't know that, and they don't establish that very well. And the key thing with the submarine, but it's not the submarine, it's actually AI. And is it God? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. It was like Fallout. It's very, very religious, but it has nothing to say about religion. Yet it's super religious, like undertones. But now it's like the AI acts like God. And it's cool to be like, oh, Tom Cruise, the poster child of modern Hollywood because of Top Gun Maverick, he's fighting against AI. That's cool. I do appreciate that, like in terms of like where we are in cinema right now, that we have a movie representing that in real time. That's fun. But like they act like it's God, and it's really stupid. But I think the Mission Impossible movies are supposed to be stupid. I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm sweating so much. And this margarita is looking really, really tasty. So I'll see you guys at the end of the year. Thanks for watching. Have a happy summer.
Is that what my hair looks like?